Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So I personally believe that if you ask people in California what's the first piece of gun control that they would like to see overturned, if they could pick any, I think that a majority of the people would probably say the California handgun roster, which stems from the UHA. The roster is absolutely terrible. It limits what people could have in California, basically nothing new, and everything that's available in California is decades old. Things that have been on the roster for a long time, because none of the new stuff that we've seen now for quite a while is able to make it onto the roster due to the severe restrictions that have been placed on anything in order to get onto that roster, including micro-stamping, which does not exist. Well, people want to see that overturned? Well, it looks like that might actually happen thanks to the FPC and several others. So let's talk about it. The channel is proud to be sponsored by the USCCA, which is absolutely the best membership you could ever have in your wallet. With your membership, you get things like self-defense, liability, insurance. They also have online training and education so that you know how to react during a self-defense scenario and what to do after a self-defense scenario. They have a 24/7 emergency call center, so if something does happen, you call the number on the back of your card. They get somebody out there to represent you and to speak for you. Check it out with the link below. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. So I'm sure you guys have heard of Rhode V Bonta, which is a case that challenges California's roster. Now, Rhode V Bonta has undergone some changes over time, and it's bounced around a little bit, but it's since been streamlined to basically just be going after the roster itself as unconstitutional. So what they're basically saying is the Firearms Policy Coalition and nearly a dozen other plaintiffs have said that it's unconstitutional, and if you look at the Supreme Court's decision in Bruin, there's nothing comparable from the ratification of the Second Amendment from 1791 to the late 19th century. There's simply nothing there that is comparable to the roster. The roster is a de facto ban on handguns in the state of California, and therefore it can't hold up. It is unconstitutional and it violates people's Second Amendment rights. Now, the good news here is that we finally have a date for a preliminary injunction hearing. So the FPC and all of the other plaintiffs filed a motion for an injunction in this case, or just a summary judgment. And now we know when it's going to be held, where and when. And that's the big news that we're going to be talking about. Now, just real quick, in order to back up the claims that the plaintiffs are making here against Rob Bonta, the California Attorney General in the state of California, they're basically saying that, look, in order to get on this list, and nothing new has gotten on this list since micro-stamping took effect, something has to have micro-stamping, chamber indicator, magazine disconnect. It has to have multiple features, and all of these features have to exist at once in order for it to fit onto that roster, right? Let's say that it does have micro-stamping and all that stuff, when micro-stamping doesn't even exist in the industry, so it can't, but let's just say that it does, right? It has to have all of those other features, and if it does make it on that list, then 3 other things have to come off. So even if something was to make it on that list, people lose access to 3 other things that were previously on the roster. So you could see it's a ban even if it works. Even if the roster works and something new makes it on, it's still a ban because now you lose access to those 3 other things, right? So with that being said, the plaintiffs filed this motion and it's going to be heard on February 10th of 2023 at 1:30 p.m. Now, the judge that's going to be hearing this case on February 10th is going to be Judge Dana Sabra. Now, I don't know anything about her. I don't know her past rulings. I don't know her political standing, nothing like that. All I know is that the plaintiffs, all they need to do is to prove that they stand a very good likelihood of winning this case in the future. If they can prove that there is a substantial likelihood that they're going to win, the judge more than likely will grant an injunction. If it looks like, well, it's up in the air, it's debatable, or there's not a good likelihood that the plaintiffs will win, then she would not grant the injunction. But post-Bruin, based off of just text history and tradition of the Second Amendment, it looks like a slam dunk to me, because obviously nothing like this has existed in the past. That's all they need to do in order to prove that, meaning that they have a good likelihood of winning in the future. The judge should grant the injunction. So this is, a very important, very big step in basically stopping this law from being enforced prior to, any other major action taking place. So she can also order a summary judgment. So basically, she could say that this law is unconstitutional. She finds it unconstitutional, and she could say that this law is no longer enforceable because of its unconstitutionality. The likelihood of her doing that is going to be far less, but I still feel like we could get an injunction here, and that would be a massive win for California, a massive win for the people of California, and a massive win for the Second Amendment and freedom. Now, judges don't typically rule from the bench in cases like this, so more than likely it's going to take a little bit of time after the 10th, but I'm going to pay very close attention to this one, and if anything happens, whether it's good or bad, I will bring that to you. But hopefully we get a little bit of a win here for the state of California and those people that enjoy their rights. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button because we'll be talking about this come early 2023. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.